Okay, what's up, YouTube? Lots to talk about. Okay, before I get to my actual review of the fight and my scorecard, all right, I wanted to speak on a few things before I even get to that fight. All right, I've been paying attention to everything, as far as this fight. I've been watching the post-fight interviews. I've seen what guys like Stephen A. Smith and Paulie Malignaggi has said. I've listened to a few YouTube channels. I've seen what people saying in my comments and what other people's comments and stuff like that. And it really didn't have too much influence on what my thoughts were. I watched the fight for a second time. And it really didn't change much. If you saw my quick post-fight review the night of the fight, you seen that I edged it for Kovalev. Okay, I edged it. All right. And, that's what I did. That's what I did. You know what? It's funny because we had another close fight this year, which was Keith Thurman and Shawn Porter. And I remember the reaction to that fight. And I remember a lot of people said that Keith Thurman got a gift. Okay. And that Shawn Porter got robbed. All right. And then people would also say, well, look at the crowd reaction after the fight. Look at the crowd reaction after the fight. All right. People were booing. And that's what people do. People boo. You know why? Because there's a lot of people, that fight was that razor edge, sharp, close, that there's a lot of people in the building that thought Shawn Porter won the fight. But if they gave Shawn Porter the win, what do you think would have happened? They probably would have booed Shawn Porter, just like they booed Keith Thurman, because that many people thought Keith Thurman won the fight. And I don't think it's any different with this fight. I think the fight was that close. There's a lot of swing rounds in here. I've seen what people are posting. I've seen people post 8-4 to Kovalev. I've seen that. I've seen it more than once. I've seen people post 7-5 Ward. I've seen it more than once. And when it comes to that Keith Thurman fight, it's funny because it was very similar in a lot of ways. Outside of the knockdown, you had Shawn Porter, who was being the more, I guess, the boxer, or not the boxer, but the more aggressive fighter, where Keith Thurman was being more of the boxer, I guess. I don't want to go into the detail on what that means, but I'm just giving you an overview of how people looked at it. And in this fight here with Andre Ward and Kovalev, I thought Kovalev was the boxer. I thought Kovalev was the better sharpshooter. On the outside, he was doing better work to me. And then Andre Ward seemed to be an aggressor, at least in the rounds that he won. Going to the body. It seemed like that's what it seemed like to me. The man was behind. He was behind in the fight. So he fought a grittier fight. He had to go for the win. He had to. He wasn't going to win any other way. He wasn't going to outbox Kovalev like many of us thought he would. The fight didn't go the way we expected it to go. And I noticed that for both fights, I thought the boxer won. I thought the Keith Thurman and his movement and his precise punching won him the fight against Porter. Even though Porter was the grittier fighter, Porter was getting into the ropes and digging to his body and roughhousing and doing what Shawn Porter normally does. Okay? He had a good jab, just like Andre Ward had a good jab in this fight. Same thing. But I picked Thurman to win that fight. I picked Kovalev to win that fight. Barely. It was by, a round or two? A point, or not a round or two, but by a point or whatever. That's who I went with, the boxer. And one thing I've learned, and the reason why I'm bringing this up, is one thing I've learned from doing this YouTube channel thing, is that people contradict themselves. because they'll make an argument for one fight, but they won't make that same argument for the next fight. You know, when it comes to emotions, all right, when it comes to something that hit home, and whatever that is that hit home, it might not be personal to you. It might not really be personal, but when you're involved in this whole racial thing, this war that's going on YouTube, you're going to go with that side, whatever side you want, no matter what. And you will make up good points that might fit your agenda at that moment. But when it comes back around in another way, in another version like this one, it doesn't make sense when you what you're saying now, because what you said before was totally different. You know? And that's one thing I've learned with people. People will abandon all logic when emotions come into play. They will abandon all of it. Throw it out the window completely. I have no problems with whoever's opinion, because when you have swing rounds like this, when you have a fight where rounds could go either way, and the punch stats, even if you look at the punch stats, and I'm not judging based on the punch stats, but when you look at the punch stats and you see how close a lot of the rounds were, it's like, damn, how can you look at that? Regardless of what you see, because what I see is what I see. When I make these reviews, like I did one the other night, and I said that in a review, I said, you know what? I might not even do another video because the rounds weren't that hard to call. It's just based on what I like. And particularly in that specific round, what I like better. I went with what I like better in that round, because the rounds, for the majority of them, besides round 2, obviously, besides round 9 for Ward, round 2 was Kovalev's best round in my opinion, by far. He dominated that round. That was the best round in the fight. But round 9 was Ward's best round in my opinion. That was the round where Ward shined throughout the whole round. You know? So, people are willing to just abandon all logic and say, no, this was a robbery. That's it. That's how I feel. They won't bring up any points or why or whatever. No, that's just how it is. It's a robbery. Kovalev should have won. He got robbed because he's Russian. Blah, 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 blah. I think Kovalev edged the fight. I do. All right? But I can actually watch a boxing match and say, I can see how people picked Ward to win this round, because it was that close. It has nothing to do with emotions. It's just that this is what people see and this is what they like. And this is what they went for. All right? And I don't understand, even if with people that's been watching boxing for years, I just don't understand how people still can't see that. You know? People coming at me talking about it's a robbery, that's it. Okay, alright, cool. What now? You know? Anyway, let me get to the fight a little bit. Well, you know what? There's certain things I want to speak on. I love Paulie Malinagi's posts, and I like his commentary. He seems to keep it fair, and he talks from a boxer's perspective. Like, he knows what it's like to be down and have to come back. And I give Andre Ward all the credit in the world for coming back in a fight that I thought he lost the first, 3-4 rounds? You know? For him to come back and do that well in the second half of the fight that he won. He won the second half of this fight. It's just that Kovalev was ahead a lot in the first half. I thought Kovalev won the majority of the first half of the fight, the first 6 rounds. Plus, he had a knockdown. You know? But I commend Andre Ward to actually come back against one of the most dangerous punchers and most skilled. Because, listen, if you think Kovalev is just some power puncher at this point, I don't know what to tell you. If you don't think he has skills, then I don't know what to tell you. The Bernard Hopkins thing wasn't a fluke. Okay, when he timed Hopkins in that first round and dropped him, that was skill. Okay, that's just not something, that was an unlucky punch. All right, because he went on to dominate him for 12 rounds. You know, when Kovalev caught Ward with this shot in the second round and dropped him, on top of landing all those other big shots that he was landing, timing him right, he was outboxing Andre Ward. He outboxed Andre Ward. He's that good. If you still think this guy can't box, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? You got to look outside of what you like and realize that this guy got skills, man. If you still don't think he has skills, I don't know what's wrong with you. You know? But I respect Paulie, you know? But this is what I don't respect, right? Because Stephen A, and I like Stephen A, all right? I don't always agree with him, but, you know, I like him, right? I used to watch First Take a lot. I respect his sport knowledge, okay, overall. Because no one is I've never met or seen anyone that was a sport expert on every sport. Like, it's impossible. It's too much knowledge, you know, unless you do nothing but watch sports 24/7. There's no way you could know everything about every single sport. So I respect Stephen A's knowledge on sports in general. And he's been digging more into the boxing thing recently, which is cool. But I've spoken about Stephen A before. And you guys remember back when I was doing videos covering the Floyd Manny Pacquiao week, because I was out there in Vegas during that week. And I remember ESPN and the type of coverage they were giving on that fight, which was cool. You had all these legendary fighters coming by doing interviews with First Take and ESPN Sports Center and stuff like that, which was great. Great build up for that fight. You had all these legends come. And I realized that Stephen A at that point had started to do his homework a little bit about Floyd and Pacquiao, okay, in that welterweight division. Because before, in past arguments, when they made arguments about Floyd and Pacquiao, because Stephen A and Skip Bayless, that's all they did. When they discussed boxing, that's the only thing they talked about. And I can tell that they really didn't know much that was going on besides those two fighters and who they fought. Some of the people they fought. You know, like the Marquez and the Cottos. You know, they know those fighters. But everybody knows those fighters. You know, they weren't talking about all of the other fighters that was in that division at that time that was doing their thing, because they don't know. They don't follow. They're very, very casual when it comes to boxing. And Stephen A, he's starting to learn a little bit. You know, he's starting to pick up on some things, and that's good. But you can tell it's real recent with him. And I can tell by his reaction of this fight, like, okay, he thought Kovalev won, like I did. But his reaction is, well, I think Andre Ward needs to go back down to 168 because he's not big enough for that weight. Oh, he doesn't hit hard enough for that weight. That's another problem with boxing fans that I keep hearing. I don't know where it started. I don't know if it's influenced by the catch weight, okay? But I keep hearing people say, the weight this, the weight that. What was weight, you know? It's a factor when a guy like Kell Brook is going up 2 divisions to fight Gennady Golovkin. Okay? When you're going up 2 divisions to fight the hardest puncher at 160, and by many, and by people that's been in the ring with guys from 160 to 175, that's still saying Gennady Golovkin hits harder than Kovalev, that's a problem. Now weight could come into the equation. But Ward has been fighting at this weight. He's been fighting above 168 in his past 3 fights. Since Paul Smith, which was at a catch weight, but still. He's been fighting above the weight. He fought Sullivan Barrera this year, who is a big guy at 175. He's not no small dude. Ward looks fine at 175, guys. Let's stop it. Okay, he's not as quick as he once was. You know, he might even be a little bit past his prime. Okay? But he was out of the ring for a while. You know, there was ring rust there. Okay? It was ring rust there. He had surgery. Okay? Let's just not act like the guy can't fight at 175. He could fight at 175 just fine. Let's not making excuses based on weight. Ward has never been a crazy knockout puncher. Okay? But he fought guys at 168 that had power. And he took the punches well. He's only been knocked down by one guy. And the guy that knocked him down is not even the best fighter he fought. He might not even be a top 10 fighter that Andre Ward has fought in his career. Darnell Boone, there's probably at least 10 guys that Andre Ward fought that's better than Darnell Boone. Yet, everybody's quick to throw weight into the occasion. Alright? He got dropped by Kovalev. So what? He got dropped by a guy that knocks everyone out. Guy knocks everyone out. Okay? It's like, stop throwing weight into the occasion, Steve. Stop telling people that, because fans are going to listen to you and think that. That's not true. The guy's fighting fine at 175. He doesn't need to go down to 168 and go down to 168 and dominate. He already did that already. We're talking about a guy that won the gold at 175 or 178 in the amateurs. He's fought at that weight. Stop saying weight this. That's the problem with boxers now. Nobody wants to talk about skills anymore. Everyone is talking about, oh, this weight. He's fighting at this weight, this weight, this weight, this weight, that. It wasn't always like that. We wasn't always talking about weight. The better fighter wins. That's it. If Kovalev won this fight, it would have been because he's the better fighter. It's not because of the weight. What do you mean the weight? The dude was timing and countering. Ward's throwing left hooks, and Kovalev is doing overhand rights, countering him, timing him. All right? It had nothing to do with the weight. It pisses me off when I hear these guys, and I like Stephen A, but he's very, very new. He's fresh to this. He hasn't been watching it like that for that long. You know? I'm sure he probably never even seen Andre Ward fight except this past year. He probably didn't even watch him fight. He never brought him up. And all right, listen, I don't know the man. I don't know what he's doing on his personal time. But I've heard him speak on boxing before, and I know if you know what you're talking about, you would bring up if when you have debates on boxers. I've heard his debates before. There's things that he left out that made me know that he's not really on it like that. You get what I'm saying? So, all right, about the fight. I'm gonna put up a picture of the scorecard. You guys will see it on here when I edit the video. All right. I gave Kovalev the first round for obvious reasons. I mean, there wasn't much going on there, but that jab they both landed, the one that kind of made Ward fall back a little bit, that just told the difference in power. Not in weight, but in power. Kovalev is a hard puncher. We already know that. Andre Ward, not saying he's a feather-fisted puncher or anything like that. Not saying that. He will knock you out. But when it comes to Kovalev, he doesn't compete when it comes to power. He's just not that. Alright, that's not his game. Second round was the most dominant round, like I said earlier. 10-8 round. Kovalev dominated that round. Alright. I remember watching that round, and maybe after the 2, the 3, or 4th round, I remember people on my timeline on Twitter saying that Kovalev got this. People were saying Kovalev had the fight in the bag. You know? People totally counted Ward out. Alright? Most dominant round, I've ever seen anyone against Andre Ward. I've never seen someone landed that consistent against Andre Ward. Kovalev looked sharp. He looked sharp. He was timing him right. He just looked like a better, superior boxer at that point. And I was surprised, and I didn't know what to believe. Now, the third round was a swing round to me that I gave to Kovalev. All right, I thought Andre Ward landed some good shots in that round. I just edged it for Kovalev. Okay, I edged it. I still thought I still thought Kovalev was in control of the fight at that time. Okay. The fourth round was another swing round that I gave to Kovalev. Okay. I thought that was maybe even a better round than 3. I don't know. I think 3 and 4 is debatable. But I gave it to Kovalev. I just thought he was still in control. Alright, I just still thought he did more work in that round. That was just based on my eyes, my observation. I thought the fifth round was the first round that changed the momentum of the fight in many ways. The fifth round was a very important round because not only did I think that Andre Ward won that round, and when this is round he started going to the body, but I also thought that Kovalev was slowing down a little bit. All right, he just didn't have that same snap on his punches, and that's the thing with the commentary. All right, and I'll speak the comment. I forgot to speak on the commentary. I definitely want to bring that up, but I'll do that after I do the scorecard. All right, I'll go do the scorecard real quick. But that was the first round that I saw a difference in Kovalev. All right, he just didn't look as sharp. All right. Sixth round, I thought Kovalev edged it. Okay. I thought Kovalev won that round. All right. That's another round I gave to Kovalev. I thought Andre Ward changed the pace in the fifth round, but Kovalev still got that sixth round. Okay. Seventh round, Andre Ward won that round. Okay. Pretty clearly to me. All right. The fifth and the seventh, I thought it was pretty clear that Ward won. I thought the eighth round was a swing round, but I gave it to Ward because I put it here in my notes. The body shots. It's what Ward did. Besides his jab, I thought the body shots was one of the best things I've seen Ward do to win this fight. Okay, I gave the eighth round to Ward. I gave the ninth round. I thought the ninth round was Ward's best round. Okay, it wasn't domination like the second round was with Kovalev, but it was clearly Ward. All 3 minutes of the round, Ward was winning. His confidence was up. The crowd was screaming. It was a great round for Andre Ward. On top of the couple of rounds that I thought he had won before that, that was the round that said, okay, you know what? I think Ward can win this fight. I'm rooting for Ward, mind you guys. I'm rooting for Andre Ward. I'm watching the fight. I'm watching it and I'm cheering for Andre Ward this round. I am cheering for him at this point. Okay? 10th round. Now, this is the only round that I couldn't come up with. And I know the punch stats had Kovalev landed a few more. But this was the only round that both fighters landed a lot of punches. And, I mean, on average, compared to the other rounds. And I rewinded this round specifically to watch it again because I just could not figure out who I'm going to give it to. Because I thought, obviously, Kovalev landed a few more jabs, but I thought some of the shots that Ward landed were just a little bit more effective. Okay? So, I made this a 10-10 round. Okay? I made it a 10-10 round. That's it. You know, I didn't score it because this was the only round that I had to watch for a third time. Okay? I just couldn't come up with it. It was the closest round to me in the fight. And I was just like, you know, this is the closest round out of a fight full of swing rounds. This was the only round that I was like, you know what? I got to watch it again. I gave it a 10-10. And the 11th round, I thought was another close round, another swing round, but I gave it to Kovalev, all right? Another swing round, and I thought the final round was a swing round that I gave to Ward, all right? Now, that leaves it at 113 to 115 for Sergey Kovalev. Obviously, that is because originally I had it 6-6. First viewing of the fight, I had it 6-6. And then I gave it to Kovalev because of the knockdown. All right. The second viewing, I have it 6-5 in one draw round, and that would leave it 2 points for Kovalev. All right. Really not a difference. All right. Kovalev won by 1 or 2 points. It doesn't matter. I had Kovalev winning the fight barely, both viewings of the fight. Now, moving on. Commentary. All right. This is how I feel about the commentary. I see people argue on both ends how they were very unfair and very biased, as usual. I mean, it's HBL. This is my look on it. I thought Max and Roy was very biased towards Andre Ward. We all know Max Kellerman. That's like Max Kellerman's favorite boxer. Okay, we already know that. So he was pointing out every single thing that Ward did. He specifically pointed it out and said it. Every time Ward landed a shot, Max Kellerman was there to let you know that Ward was landing a shot. I thought Roy Jones was saying more like the psychological, like, this is what Ward needs to do, and Ward is trying to do this, and Roy was giving explanations of everything that was going on, but he was more biased towards Andre Ward, okay? And then you had Jim Lampley that was totally Kovalev, you know, and you got to look at it in this way. If you have one or two commentators that's totally for one fighter, you kind of want to be the other way towards the other, because if both commentators are saying that they're making it pretty obvious that they're pro Andre Ward, and I do not like Jim Lampley, but he was the only one that was pointing out all of the things that Kovalev was doing. None of them were neutral. That's my point. Not one of those commentators were neutral. I didn't watch the UK version of it, okay? I didn't watch any other version of this fight. All I know is that none of the three were neutral. You had two for Ward, in my opinion, in different ways, and then you had Lampley that was just giving you pure raw commentary of Sergey Kovalev. That's it. Okay, that's what you got out of the three of those guys. All right. The commentary doesn't really affect me anymore because it has in the past, and I've learned I don't have to turn the sound off in order to ignore them. I can listen to what they're saying, and if it's not what I see, I just go based on what I see. And if I have to, I'll just rewind that moment that I need to see to make sure a punch landed. Because if Lampley screams, "Hard right hand by Sergey Kovalev," like he did, and then they showed a replay where Kovalev missed the shot completely, he said it. He said that he messed up there. But you got to understand that these commentators, they're trying to hype up the guy they want to win. All right? For whatever reason. Okay? If I feel like if there was a fix in, if there really was a fix in there, then for Kovalev, like Floyd said something and Andre Ward responded about the fix is in for that fight. If the fix was in for Kovalev would have definitely won that fight. He did enough to win. Like I said, I thought Kovalev was the better boxer that night. I thought Ward showed a lot of heart, and he showed a lot of grit, and he did whatever he had to do. He made it a fight. Unlike Isaac Chilemba, who I thought did a great job of his use of jab. I think he did even a better job with his movement and his use of his jab. He was catching Kovalev all night with jabs. It's just that Chilemba never really wanted to win the fight. You know, that's the thing with Chilemba. He didn't want to win. He was more trying to survive than win. And he was landing a lot of jabs, which were good. but he didn't throw anything hard in there to try to win. Whereas Andre Ward was throwing punches where he was drawing knockout shots. He was actually trying to get points and trying to hurt Kovalev. Okay, and that's the difference that I've seen here in this fight compared to the Chilemba fight, where I thought wasn't a great Sergey Kovalev performance. Okay. Now, as far as moving on, I would like a rematch. I thought the fight was that close. I would like to see a rematch immediately. Floyd did it, and I'm not saying it just because Floyd did it, but Floyd did it, and the two fights that everybody thought he had lost. Okay, just do it right away. If they were to rematch, I would tell you right now that I think Andre Ward would win the rematch. Even though I thought he lost this fight, I think Ward would know what to do in the second fight. And plus, I'm sure that Ward is able to take Kovalev's power. There's some adjustments that I know Ward would do. I think Ward would go to his body a lot often early, to slow him down, because that's what he did in this fight. He won the second half of the fight, and guys that win the fight going as the fight is ending, okay, towards the end of the fight, those are the guys that I usually go for in a rematch. Okay, that's just my opinion. But I would like for them to rematch. They don't have to. They don't have to right away. And I'm sure Kovalev wants to. But if Ward doesn't want to fight him, he should fight Adonis Stevenson. Because he's the closest right now in boxing to being a unified champion. Undisputed champion. If he fights Adonis Stevenson right now, Stevenson seems to want to fight him. So if Al Heyman lets Stevenson fight Andre Ward, then we should have no problems. Let's get that fight going. Let's have an undisputed champ. If Stevenson wins and he beats Andre Ward, then we'll have an undisputed champ. Either way, we'll have one. I don't care who wins. I would want Andre Ward to win again because I'm a fan. But if not, then fight Kovalev for a rematch. Why not? The guy, he collected 3 of those belts. He worked hard to get 3 belts. He was going around fighting everyone that held belts at that division. So I think the guy deserves a rematch. But if he doesn't want to fight him right away, Ward doesn't want to fight him right away, fight Adonis Stevenson, which is another dangerous fight. As far as pound for pound is concerned, now I'm trying to speak of everything that's everyone's been talking about. So I'm trying to bring up the commentary. I'm trying to bring up, YouTube reaction. I'm trying to bring up all that. As far as pound for pound, going into this fight, I thought both fighters were top 5 pound for pound fighters, whatever way you want to order it. Okay. I believe that since Ward won, he's number 1. If Kovalev would have won, I would say he's number 1. Okay. Now that Ward beat Sergey Kovalev, I'm ranking him number 1. You don't have to like it. It's just an opinion. I also believe that Kovalev is still a top 5 pound for pound fighter. There's no losers in this fight, in my opinion. People that said that they both look like shit, well, it's hard to look good when you're fighting one of the other best fighters in the sport. Okay? When you're fighting one of the best fighters in this sport, it's hard to really look good. Okay, not everyone is going to go and dominate another pound for pound fighter. Alright? Their styles clash, and it was hard for either one of them to really look good. It's very hard to look good against Andre Ward. It's very hard to look good against Sergey Kovalev. No one has really looked good against either one of them. They both have had tough fights in the past, but they both were undefeated to this point. How can you say they look like shit when they fought each other? Like, how do you say that? They're both pound for pound. Even with the loss, I don't really have a ranking, because I feel like there's a lot of the 5 and 10 guys that I think are pound for pound. I think they all need something to prove. All of them, in a way, they have something that they need to prove. Look at Roman Gonzalez last fight. Last couple of fights. Terrence Crawford, people still, I think Terrence Crawford is pound for pound. Still, people don't believe in him. Gennady Golovkin, I think he's top 5 pound for pound, but look at the people he's fighting right now. I don't like this whole car fraud thing, but I'll keep that on another video. I want Gennady Golovkin to fight some of these best fighters, but I don't know. It's just an opinion. No one is gonna have the same pound for pound list. But I do think Ward is pound. I think he's earned his spot now. That he won. If it was Kovalev to be the winner, I would have gave it to Kovalev. I think Kovalev won the fight, and that's why I still think he's pound for pound. I think Kovalev still might. For him to be winning and outboxing Andre Ward, in my opinion, I thought he was outboxing Andre Ward. I might even move him up a notch just because of his performance. He slowed down. And that's why Andre Ward won. Because Andre Ward fought at the same pace. And he needed to come back. Maybe Kovalev was a little bit... Maybe that's what Kovalev needed to do in the rematch. Maybe Kovalev got a little overconfident because of the knockdown. That's what knockdowns do. Sometimes, to some fighters. They think they got the fight in the bag. He thought maybe he got a little comfortable. And I think Andre Ward snuck up on him. But Kovalev is a great fighter. He's a great fighter. He's a great fighter. Without a doubt. Alright. Alright, I think that's all I want to speak on. If Andre Ward doesn't fight Kovalev, there's still plenty of guys at 175 to fight. Still plenty of guys there. But I would hope that they have a rematch. Let's get a better undercard. By the way, as far as contradictions, like I spoke earlier this video. This weekend we have Lomachenko Walters coming up. And I would love to hear what people are going to say if that is also a close fight. Because there could be a knockout in that fight, and there could be... I think both fighters are capable of getting a knockout. And I think both fighters are capable of winning a decision. So I'm very interested in hearing what people have to say after that fight this weekend. Okay? Because now you have the Eastern European guy that is the more popular fighter. Alright? Even here in the States. I don't know where they're fighting, but he's not the knockout guy. He can get knockouts, but he's not Nicholas Walters. The tables are turned once again, and I'm very interested in hearing what people have to say in that fight, depending on the outcome. Alright, but the tables are different in that fight. And I want to see if people are once again going to contradict themselves, which they will, because this is what they always do. Alright? So anyway, that's it. Make sure you guys subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.